Furtado. I joined the 36 Engineers just after they arrived at Fort Bragg. I was the first class from Fort Belvoir to join with them, and it was in March. Tony, when did you join them?
I joined around April 1st. I came from Fort Belvoir, and when I got down there, Walt Miller looked at the 201 or whatever that sheet number was, and he saw that I could type. So right away they needed somebody at a headquarters company that could type and go to court martials and record the court martials and that kind of stuff. So right away he grabbed me and put me in headquarters company before I had a chance to do anything. And that's how I ended up in H&S Company. Well, you know, we went to Casablanca, we went to Oran, but one of my craziest memories is going to Sicily. Now, Sicily was only about 25 miles from North Africa, but it took us 3 days to get there, this way, that way. Well, the second day, we hit the craziest storm that you ever experienced. Everybody got seasick. And we were on an LCT, which is only had a sides about that high, and the waves were coming right across the ship and out the other side. I was so seasick, I didn't care where we were going, what we were doing. So there was a duck aboard the ship. Maybe more than one, but I spotted this one duck. And I noticed that they had air compartments in the back. I got in there, closed the thing, and said, the hell with the war. Because I had nothing else to throw up. I had thrown up, they give me seasick pills, I threw them up. Well, anyway, we were glad to get off this damn ship and get on land. Finally got off this damn thing, you know. The first thing we threw away was the gas mask, and then the life preservers, the big piles of them on the beaches. And we got into a culvert next to a road, and we're running in there. There's about 7 or 8 of us. Walt Miller was in the front of me, and we're running in this culvert to get up to this hill. Well, before you know, a shell comes over. I said, good God, just like the movies. I had seen Sergeant York just before I got drafted, and that's the first thing that came into my mind. Here we are. It looks just like the war. And before I know it, we hear this fish go by, and pew, we all dive down, face first into the dirt with no mud. It was all dirt, and boom! I get hit in the back of the head. So I said, oh Christ! I guess I'm lucky. I'm still alive. So first things up, we get up. We gotta keep going. So we get up and we go about 10 yards, and swish again. Another shell comes by, and bang! I get hit in the back of the head. So I was pretty lucky. So I get up and start to shake myself off. There was nothing there. So I finally realized that my backpack was not hooked to my belt, and it kept coming up and hitting me in the back of the head every time we hit the dirt. Well, somebody must have caught up with this mortar that was shooting, and the shells were going at. They were really shooting at the boats that we came in on, and that was it. Somebody must have knocked the gun out, and we continued on our head. We made it up to the top of the hill.
Now, can I get caught up with you at this point?
Okay, I quit.
All right. As I said, I joined before Step to 36, and I met up with this character, and we've been buddies ever since. Overseas, we shared half a pup tent, and that's how we survived if we were living in a tent, if we were underground. But anyhow, he was you were a clerk in S1, right? And I went over as a assistant chief. But then over there, young, foolish, that was enough action for me. They sent me to telephone school and learned telephone, how to repair them and how to go out on lines and work the switchboards and all. And I taught the officer that I was under to let me quit that job and go in with the little signal communication outfit in H&S, because I talked to the guys and I knew radio, I knew telephone, and the guy said, yeah, if we get an open, sure you can come in, we'll teach you code. So when there was an opening, I went there. And many of the times when I was out on lines, chasing broken lines to the battalions and being, shelled and everything else, I wish I had stayed as a message center chief. But anyhow, we did go through Africa together. We went over to Sicily, and of course he told me about the trip over. But my experience in Sicily, I had similar experiences as he. We were supposed to, after we hit the beach, we were supposed to go up a command post on the hill back behind the beach. Well, it took us, we were supposed to get there an hour or two, they gave us that time. Well, it took us half a day to get up there between the shelling, the minefields, the wiring. But we finally made it, and things died down for us. We went down to the beach and became shore engineers. And another thing was that when we went to make a landing, our little communication outfit wouldn't be able to take care of all the communication that was needed on the landing. So Corps was sending a signal group, and it would give us guys our jobs to do. Well, I really lucked out in Sicily. I got a job supervising the civilian workers in Licata. And I had a pass where I could go anywhere, and that was the best thing. And, all right, well, what do you have to say?
Well, once we got to Licata,
yeah.
I knew a little Italian, not a hell of a lot, but enough. So we had road work to do now. We're staying on this space in Licata. We never left it. And they assigned us a certain section between Licata and Agrigento. Agrigento is the big Greek town. There's all kinds of ruins there. Well, anyway, I had these road guys, all these Italian civilians, and I had a little payroll to take care of. And every day somebody would come along and say, I got an uncle, I got a brother, I got an in-law. Could you put him on the payroll? Could you put him on the payroll? So I got to learn a little more Italian than I knew when I got there. So yeah, I had my own crew of Italians up and down the coast.
And that's where we picked up our sleeping companion. Steph and I had a sleeping companion.
Oh, you're mutt.
You're calling Sharky a mutt? It was a little white dog.
He picked up a dog.
Hey, don't laugh. She kept us warm in the wintertime in the Italy Hills. She'd crawl in the tent with us. We didn't care how muddy. We were muddy anyhow, so we didn't care how muddy she got all over with the muddy feet and all. But anyhow, we did pick up this, and she went. Well, until these guys left her behind in Naples, we had her all the way. She'd stay behind when we were up the front, and then she'd come and join us. And she was I think, she could beat anybody into a foxhole when a shelling started, I'll tell you that. She sensed something was coming. When we saw her running, we would run too.
Good hearing or something. Better than ours. They're better than we did.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why don't you tell them when the time you got shot off the log?
Get off the what?
When you were getting the haircut.
Oh, well,
we
haven't got that Anzio, have we?
Well, that happened in Anzio.
Yeah, that was, well,
later.
In Salerno, of course, we were on, in Africa, land in Africa and Sicily, we were beach engineers. But after Sicily, they brought us back to Africa. They gave us new equipment because we were going to be combat engineers now, going up front all the time. And, where was I going with this?
Well,
you lose your train of thoughts.
Why don't we tell them, when we went ashore in North Africa, in Casablanca really, we were on big ships, you know, 1,100, 1,200
Trump ships. They
on regular sea-going ships. Well, this port of Furtado, where we landed, could hold one ship at a time, which we ended up unloading it eventually when we got ashore. But when we had to go ashore, the only thing they had at that time was what they call a Higgins boat. You know, the landing craft weren't invented yet. They didn't come until Sicily. But to get into this damn thing, you know, you're on a big ship, which 40, 50 feet high, you got to go down a rope ladder. Well, to go down the rope ladder, they had a bandana of shells this way, another one this way, one around the belt. You had enough shells to shoot for 5 years, and heavy, you know, gas mask, rifle, backpack, and you had about 60 pounds of stuff on you. Well, as you're going down this rope ladder, there's this little Higgins boat down there going up and down. You know, you're going to hit it on the up or on the down. It was quite an experience, just getting out of the, and there were no shelling going on really to talk about. It was just getting off this ship and getting ashore.
And I got to tell you something about, you know, ships and water and everything. Steph was no sailor.
No, I'm no sailor.
We go to train for the landers, you know, train the landers. He stepped 1 foot on the boat and it turned green. What he said about Sicily, though, that poor guy really suffered.
Oh man, that one trip, from that short trip, they went up and down, up and down. Everybody was seasick. You weren't? No, you weren't.
I was a sailor. I've lived
you've been there before.
Up in Rhode Island, in Massachusetts, and had boats. So I was a little woozy at times, but I never got that. Oh, I felt so sorry for him.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Speaking of North Africa,
Yes.
how long were you there approximately, and what do you remember about the people, the landscape? What are your best and worst memories of
Oh, I
North
got a memory. I forget. I can look it up in my notes, but there was a place we were gonna leave that place and travel 500 miles, and we're gonna travel by train instead of on the back of these trucks bouncing around. No, oh boy, that's great. Until we got to the railroad side yard where the trains were parked. They still had the 40 and 8s from World War I. We didn't have any horses in there, but we were packed like sardines. And the guys said, oh God, we thought we were going to sit in chairs.
I don't know why they...
We didn't even have our own.
I don't know why they put us on these trains. I mean, the 2.5-ton truck could have made it in a half an hour. We went from Rabat to Oran. It took a couple of days, and it really wasn't far. We stayed in Furtado, Morocco, I don't know, about a month or so, and we bivouacked on a golf course. We,
play golf every day?
In the shade.
You believe that?
In the shade. That was the only golf course we saw the whole time we were in Europe. But we bivouacked in this golf course, and we unloaded one ship at a time. That's all oh, I didn't tell you, the first night we landed there, the torpedoes, the U-boats, sink 3 of our ships, because there's hundreds of ships in this big harbor. And the second night, they sink 3 more. Well, one of our guys from Heron Bear, he got torpedoed the first night and got picked up by another ship. The second night, that ship gets torpedoed, and he manages to get picked up by a destroyer, an American destroyer, and he came ashore dressed as a sailor. They gave him clothes, and they gave him a bill for $5.70 for the clothing. Imagine that.
I'm trying to picture him in a sailor suit.
Well, this port that we were operating then, we were unloading ships, so in the port was loaded with cork, was baled and ready to go wherever. So, actually, we confiscated. We just took it. We're military people, so we put it on, as we unloaded a ship, we put it on as ballast and sent it back to the States. I don't know where it went eventually. But do you know the French government eventually sued us for that cork and that money? This is like about a year and a half later. Walt Miller has to appear somewhere as a witness. But you know, every time we occupied a building in France, they charged us for it, and it was reverse Lend-Lease. You remember Lend-Lease? Well, that's how they paid it off. They charged us for every schoolhouse, every public building that we occupied. Oh, miserable bastards. I wonder if they charged. I wonder if they charged.
French here, but we never thought too much of the French.
I wonder if they charged the Germans when the Germans were there.
I can't believe that.
Oh yeah,
This is the first time I heard that.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
He was in a position to know,
I
because he
have
was
not ever heard that either. That I didn't ever hear that the French had that much gall.
Oh yeah, those miserable creeps.
Don't show this to any French person.
This would be just for our private collection.
Check the audience first and send the Frenchman out.
Are there any French people in here? You may want to leave. Yeah.
All right, where are we now, Chef?
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Unload. Can I ask you?
Yeah, you can ask us some questions.
Anything, yeah, okay.
Sure.
What type of things did you do in North Africa until you were training for Sicily?
That's all we just had.
Our primary job was unloading it. See, after those two torpedoes, then they finally, Casablanca was opened up, and they were able to get all these merchant vessels out of the ocean and into this concealed area,
The
harbor, whatever. And then we eventually cleared the port so that Roosevelt and Churchill and de Gaulle could have their little meeting down there. That happened around Christmas of 42.
And that's all thanks to the 36 engineers that they were able to meet. I don't think that's right.
When we were there, that Christmas of that year, our band showed up. We landed in the end of November, the end of October or early November. I'm not on November 2nd or 3rd of 42, and the band didn't come until Christmas. Christmas Eve they showed up, and I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Oh, that is all great.
And we changed it a little bit. I'm dreaming of a white mistress. And also Tangerine was popular. Tangerine, my sex machine.
He's Italian. He thinks of things. He thinks of things like that.
You think it was tough all the time, huh? We had a little fun once in a while. I had a Greek buddy who, you know Fort Bragg? Well, there's a town of Fayetteville down there. Well, there must be about 20 diners in that town. So we run past, we go in the diner, coffee and donut or whatever, no charge. He'd say a few words in Greek. We did that a couple of times, no charge. So we're in North Africa now. He and I go on past to Oran. Same thing, we go to a restaurant. Of course there were no diners, there were restaurants. They invited us in the kitchen this time. We didn't eat that, no charge. They just knew a few words in Greek. They have restaurants in the whole damn world.
And I tell them all the time, Jesus, imagine how you'd make out if we landed in Greece.
Well, then, then there's so many stories.
Oh, I don't.
you know, in Italy and, you know, Salerno, Sicily, Salerno, Anzio. Anzio, you know, was, nobody thought we would ever
Leave or get out of life.
even go home.
Before we get
We never dreamed of going home.
No,
That was the
not-
last thing we thought of. It was just out of the question.
Before we get to Anzio, though, slogging it up, you know, the Germans would occupy a position, high position, and then when they see they were going to lose that, they'd fall back to another. And it just took us a long time, and it was a winter time, and geez, it was miserable. You know, living on the ground, we had a pup tent, we could put up a pup tent. But anyhow, we had a commander. He's a West Point graduate. And that son of a gun should have been commander of an infantry outfit. Because he was always getting his infantry work. When we didn't have much to do, he'd be at headquarters looking for an infantry job for us. And boy, at Andrew, he really got us some infantry jobs. And you know, we'd be going by and we'd see infantry in the fields. We're going by. Our line companies are up front, you know, and we're going by, and there's infantry troops here. And we're advancing past the infantry. Well, like, more infantry's up in front, but we always say, just look at that. We're in front of the infantry. They're waiting for us to go back, go up there and clear out the Germans. No way. They got to come up.
Well, you know, when we actually got to Italy, when we got to Anzio, and they sent us up to the front, we never took our underwear off for 45 days, or socks, or shoes, or anything. We stayed in the same clothes, never washed.
You wouldn't have had that neighborhood
because it was
came off the line.
It was February and March. It wasn't warm, but it wasn't freezing cold. Nothing froze, but it was cold, you know.
We come off the line, the first thing they had us do, take off all our clothes, hit the showers. They gave us all new clothes and then burned it.
Well, it was too cold to smell. Nothing ever froze. But
and
talking about the guy, you know, there was no such a thing as a shower.
you know.
And that's something we overuse in this country now. We wash too much.
Oh, speaking of Anzio, when we first landed, that was an easy landing. We just,
Oh, yeah.
they bombed the port of Anzio, and there weren't too many Germans there in the first place. So we were landing on the docks, our outfit anyhow.
Yeah,
So we get into town, and there's those, Anzio and the Tuna was a sort of a beach area or
A resort for the rich.
for the rich from Rome and around the country. And they had these big houses. But when we went into the houses, they had all the furniture, most of the furniture downstairs. Oh, beds, gee. Oh, we're gonna sleep in beds now. So we take the beds, we set them up on the first floor, second floor. But after a few nights of running down in the basement all the time, we set up the beds down in the basement.
We got off. Every building in Anzio had some kind of damage or destroyed. And we had some lucky shots because some of the shells that came in didn't go off. You know, just disappear into the ground and never explode. I don't know, they might still be there. We're lucky because, you know, the Germans were being sabotaged a little bit by, they had Italians, they had Yugoslavians, they had Hungarians. And in fact, whenever we had a prisoner, he was never German. He was always one of these, you know,
people from one of these
Hungarian, Australian, or some other country, but never a German. They didn't surrender. They were the best soldiers, though. They made us look silly.
The best soldiers, though, I ever saw was the African Corps. When the war was
they
over,
weren't soldiers.
When they had them in batches, you know, to send them back to the States. They were a physical example of a soldier and their looks, their bearings. And they were very arrogant, you know. The Italians, oh, they were happy. And the Germans would say, we'll be back, we'll be back.
When you landed in Sicily, and you were there for approximately a month?
2 months.
2 months, right.
July and August. back to
When
North
you
Africa.
were, okay, when you were there, how far did you travel up in Sicily?
No,
You
we
did.
did that right
We
here.
were confined to that port because there again, LSTs could get pretty close, and our job was establishing dumps. So there was somewhere in Caltana Center, which is sort of the center of Sicily. We ran ammunition back and forth between, and built up a big ammunition dump there in Caltana Center. And then we're gonna get on the boats again. We're going home. We're going to the States. Somebody started that rumor. First thing you know, we're in Bizerti. And they're already organizing to go to Salerno, or Paestum, it's called. You ever been to Italy?
No.
You never ever hear of Paestum? Well, it's a 2,500-year-old Greek town that was pretty much destroyed, but it's still there now. It's a museum in Italy. It's a museum town.
Was it covered by that volcano antenna? Was it?
No, there's just all these columns here and there. It was a city at one time, a Greek city, 2,500 years ago. As is Agrigento too, but Agrigento is been built around. But Paestum was just has been deserted, but now it's sort of sacred ground. The Italian government can't do this, can't do that. But apricots grow there. Because I went back, I don't know, maybe like 10 years later, 85 or something, and we went in June, and the apricots were in, and Paestum was full of apricots at that time.
Okay, so.
Ask questions.
Ask question. Okay. Now we're doing Naples and Salerno. Most vivid memories of the area. How many experiences did you have with the people there?
Yeah, I had a good experience. Remember Pops?
Who?
Pops. He made his own wine. We were outside of Naples somewhere. I don't know
What did he
he was
do?
a group of us. We call him Pops.
No, don't know any Pops.
And he made great wine and good food. His wife was fixing food. And one evening, there's 12 of us went to his place, and he really had a great evening for us. Wine, food, and girls.
You're dreaming.
No! You were with me that night. There was 12 of us.
I didn't
remember.
come. I didn't come.
Oh, no, you weren't the type, I suppose.
I don't know. Because we were never bivouacked in Naples, actually.
No, it was outside of Naples. It wasn't in Naples.
Is
I
this,
took many a trip into Naples on a motorcycle for a repair dump, radio repair dump.
Yeah.
But it was outside of Naples. It wasn't Naples.
'Cause see,
I wouldn't stay in that city for 2
we
minutes.
kind of skirted Naples.
Yeah.
We went to Avellino, Benevento.
Yeah,
And I don't know who went to, somebody else went to Naples, but we didn't.
No.
Our outfit didn't go. But we did eventually go to Naples to buy things. Because Naples had nothing.
Well, they had a lot of supply dumps there too.
Oh yeah, well eventually.
And I would go in there for the communication.
But they were very poor. They had no clothing. I mean, if you left a shirt somewhere, it would disappear. They had no clothing and no food, and they did anything for clothing or food.
Ask him, he knows. And I'm not gonna go any more into that one.
Well, tell us about the haircut.
Oh, the famous haircut. Well, you know, in Anzo, you always lived, you didn't live above the ground as much as you lived under the ground.
Yeah.
And if you traveled above the ground, you were always looking around for holes. But one day I needed a haircut. That was when I had more hair than I have now, of course. And I got the barber to say, hey, how about give me a haircut? Oh yeah, so we went down a little ravine. It was had cover, and I sat on a water can next to a foxhole, they started giving me a haircut, all of a sudden shelling started. I go, let's go. You know, they're going away, they're traversing away, they're going out to the left. Well, he should have known better, I should have known better, because they do that, and then all of a sudden, they throw them back the other way. Well, all of a sudden we hear fluttering, and when they're fluttering, they're close. I just fell off that can into the hole, he fell on top of the shell ladder, he fell on top of me. I didn't get any shrapnel, but he got right through the neck, all the, you know, the arteries back there, the carotid arteries, everything. It missed all of them. And he was back with us a couple of months.
He lived. Yeah, he came back in a couple of months.
Yeah. Another time, as I said, I was in communication, radio and phone work, and I'd have to go out on lines that were broken. And one day I was out there, and we were alongside some British troops, and there was a couple of British linemen out there too. And all of a sudden the shelling started, and my buddy and I jumped in the hole, but it must have been a machine gun emplacement or something. It was pretty kind of large, you know. You like, when you're in a hole, you like to have everything closed in on you. And so shelling stopped for a while, and we got up, and because we had spotted some foxholes further back, and we ran back to those and jumped into those individuals. And after the shelling really stopped, we peeked out our foxholes, and we yelled for, "Hey blokes, where are you?" And then we noticed that hole that we'd been in had been hit by a shell. Went over there, it had been blown up. That was one. So and I had others, you know, going out to the broken. I hate to go out to the forward observation line, outpost out there. Or what was the other one? There was one that we could only send one guy out on the line because the Germans had it zeroed in, you know. And if we went out on the line during the day, we stayed till nighttime till we get back, because we didn't dare come out in the open anymore.
But those German 88s were deadly.
Oh, they were deadly.
You know, they would fire once to hit something. We used to fire all day long just to keep them quiet. Our artillery spent millions of shells over there at them, just to keep them down. But they picked one thing, and they always hit something, you know. They never wasted a shell. They were deadly. They were good.
Well, our artillery, our ships offshore are pretty deadly too. Because I remember when we first went in the line on the left flank, and I went out to man the radio that the communication went through from the forward observers to the ships to fire. And I'd hear the forward observer giving directions to the ships offshore, and then I'd be observing to and see them go, yeah, and then all of a sudden you hear the guys say, "You're right on." We knew the end of that. That was the end of those Germans.
Wait, you remember the Piper Cubs that they had up there eventually?
Yeah.
Once the Piper Cubs would get up and over the line, quiet. You can go out and eat. You can eat outside. They were open spotters, you know, and they never moved. If they were into the wind, they got to look like it was standing still, but staying up there.
And then they dropped those anti-personnel,
Anti-personnel
mines.
Oh,
they're not bombs.
It's like
and they'd come down and then
hand grenades.
explode. So all our foxholes and dugouts, we had dirt and logs and more dirt, so they couldn't penetrate that. And I always said that when they came back to rebuild Anzio, they'd have to dig it out of the ground because all the wood was in the ground.
Imagine how many shells are on the ground over there.
Okay, so after Anzio, then during the breakout, you went into Rome?
Well, a couple of days. It took almost a week. We had to go through the Velletri grapevines, and there was all kinds of. They had wine cellars, you know, little caves, and they made the wine apparently right there in the field in these caves, and we had to dig out all these dead German bodies. It was kind of hot now. It was June. It was almost June, and they were swelled up about this big. We cover them with lye, and wait for the graves registration people to come and bury them.
And then after the breakout, were you at the Ventura River?
Did we where?
The Venturi River?
Oh, Volturno River.
Oh, that was down below.
Yeah.
That was down below.
Well, see, that was the reason for Anzio, because they could not get past Mount Casino, and which was stupid. The hell with them, let them keep the dam and go around it. Which either the British were coming up the east coast. I don't know where the hell they were all that time, what they were waiting for, but they didn't have to take Casino. More people were killed trying to take that damn building, because all the Germans had to do was roll the hand grenades out. They'd have to throw them, just roll them down the hills.
Yeah, that was a huge stalemate, huge.
Have you been back there?
No, I haven't.
You know.
You wouldn't believe, that monastery looks like it's been there for thousands of years.
Forever.
They restored
We
it.
went in 2004.
It's like, oh, you know, they replicated all the paintings and the statues and carvings and everything else. It looks like it's been there for thousands of years, but it was bombed to rubble.
We had a guide when we went there. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? And we were going around. I said, "We're one of the high spots." He said, "See that down there, that little cemetery?" He said, "There's 1,100 Polish soldiers there that were killed, just killed
They were the ones
in
who
one little cemetery, private cemetery, just for Polish guys that gave up their lives."
Yeah, they were the final.
They were trying to take this. The 34th Division, the Japanese division. We had a Japanese battalion. I think they were attached to the 34th.
Yeah, they were I think the 133rd, or was it?
442nd?
Yeah, I don't know. Were they attached to the 34th
Yeah,
Division or
yeah,
somebody
they were
else?
part of them, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, the
Well,
Texas.
they lost a lot of people on that. We never did capture it. We went around it eventually. Well, but that's why they had Anzio in the first place. They thought that once we landed there, they would pull back and get the hell out.
Well,
But they didn't.
yeah, Anzio was supposed to be the immediate meetup, so they could meet up and then
Yeah.
continue
yeah.
up, but that was
We spent 5 months
5 months of
to meet up.
disaster. Yes, yes.
They outsmarted us again.
Okay, okay, so a few days in Rome, and then...
No, we didn't have any days in Rome. We went
But I
right
mean,
through Rome.
passing through,
I did.
passing through.
And we went to Civitavecchia where
Anzio Annie was.
the big gun was, which is now down in Aberdeen.
I got the road.
Yeah, I think
I
we
could have
had.
been court-martialed so many times. Naples, I sneak off, you know, I'm on business, I got, of course, business 2 minutes and I was doing something else. Anyhow, we survived.
What else?
Okay,
We,
and now we're getting ready to leave Italy.
yeah,
And
we
did
go
you-
Yes.
Yes.
to Naples now. Yeah,
Naples.
we got as far as Civitavecchia, and they called us back. The 3rd Division again, the 45th Division, all the experienced troops back to Naples, and we stayed there. We had already had Christmas somewhere, but when the hell did we go to southern France? In
I don't
August.
know, that was
August.
you guys. That was you guys.
Sometime in August, yeah. Sometime. And when we went back to Naples, everything was in bloom in the countryside. You know, you could pick peaches or apples or anything you wanted off the trees.
I got picked up. I got picked up on a road. My story of not finishing going into France with my outfit was I never made it to France because I was going to go load as I said before, when we wanted to make a landing, they'd bring in a signal company from Corps and they'd give us guys different jobs. And I mentioned about riding a bike, going to pick up things from radio and supplies, stuff like that. Well, this time they told me I was a dispatch rider on the landing. And I didn't get thrilled about that one because, you know, you get You land on the beach and they send you to take a measure to pick up just something down the road. You don't know what's down the road. But anyhow, what could I do? I couldn't say, no, I don't want the job. I had to take it. But anyhow, it's one day that I was supposed to land, load aboard an LST. No, it was an LCT. It was an open ship. And I went down there and the load master says, oh no, you guys are not a lot. You probably won't load till late afternoon or evening. So when you go to make a landing, you leave everything behind, money, everything else. So I'll go back to bivouac area, I'll pick up get the guys to give me a few bucks and I'll go to Naples and get some food and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I got to the bivouac area, I get some money from these guys and going back, country road, you know, I went around the curve and the last thing I remember was seeing a Jeep in the middle of the curve too. I woke up in the hospital with my kneecap removed and broken bones. But that was a good thing. You know, at the time I didn't think it was a good thing. Because when they started wheeling in the wounded from the landing in southern France, and watching the guys go by on the stretchers. Well, I said, whoa, hold on. Is that you, Antonuccio? He was with the other bike rider. He was a real bike rider. There was going to be, me and I were going to be on the same landing craft. He said, what the hell happened? He says, we come up to the beach, we dropped the ramp, and all of a sudden, some shell of water came in, and it got me, and killed quite a few of the guys. So, I always say that I was blessed in two ways, maybe three ways. That first of all, I was put in an H&S company. Second, I survived that incident in Anzio, where I hopped out of a bigger hole into a smaller one. And thirdly, the going on that invasion for southern France. I think that's why I'm still here. What's yours, Hughes?
Tony,
What?
what about southern France now? You left your buddy?
Oh, I'm going out because I missed the best part of the war. And
We
over.
left him with the dogs.
Oh,
You see, eventually when the dogs, when the rear echelon was supposed to come, the dog was trying to get, I don't know who, we weren't there, but
you left him with someone to bring along, the rare echelon.
somebody was bringing it around. But anyway, these French goons, whoever the hell they were, Senegalese, they were coming on with goats and chickens and rabbits, all kinds of livestock. So the captain of the ship said, all animals off the ship, only people. So Chalky with her 7 puppies stayed in Naples. And that's the last we heard of her.
I got pictures of her.
She had 7 puppies in Naples, outside of Naples.
Yeah.
But the landing in southern France was kind of quiet. The landing wasn't bad. It was after the landing there was different ambushes here and there that was pretty much what we experienced. A couple of ambushes here, a couple of ambushes there, and eventually about 2 days later we arrived. We walked to Marseille, and somehow we managed to get a lot of prisoners. And we let them de-bomb the port of Marseille because they put all the bombs in, so we let them take them out. And the first day we get to Marseille, everything was free, including the girls. The second day was $20.
Oh, I gotta leave. I can't listen to this.
That's all. Yeah, they went back to the Union scale. But then we had a nice 2 weeks in Marseille. We were in a hotel that had an elevator that worked for 2 weeks. You know, we ran the port of Marseille, and then I guess they brought in the black guys to run the port, and up the Rhone Valley we went then. Took us 3 or 4 days till we got to Marseille, to Alsace-Lorraine area, Epinal and Grenoble and was pretty nice. In fact, I picked mushrooms in France going through this area and ate them.
So probably during that time, up to Alsace and all that area, there's probably relatively peaceful for you.
Yeah, it was the month of September. And the scenery was beautiful, you know. Every day you go 15 or 20 miles a day in the back of a 2.5-ton truck. It was very, very peaceful. There was no opposition. The Germans had pulled back quite a ways. Yeah, we didn't encounter them until we got to Alsace.
Then what happened? What's your first experience there?
Oh, then winter started to set in, and it was pretty rough. It was pretty nasty because the Germans were zeroed in on everything. You know, they backed up. They took the best spots all the time. We were always dodging artillery, always.
During that time, did you lose anyone in your company?
Oh, of course. Of course. There was shelling going on all the time. Constantly.
What types of projects were you doing? Were you bridge building or?
Yes, yeah, but there wasn't too much because
you were stopped.
They were waiting. That's right. The bridge building had to take place across the Rhine, and we couldn't get near it.
That was a long ways off yet.
Yeah, it wasn't far away, but it was quite a struggle because then the damn bulge started. Not the bulge, that winter.
Yeah, Battle of the
Bastogne.
Bastogne, yes.
Yeah. Then that started, and what the hell do you think they did? They took all the infantry out of the area, all the aircraft people, anti-aircraft people, turned them into infantry, and anything that could be spared went north, went to the Bastogne area with Patton, because he was assembling this group to go. So we went back in the line again as infantry, and we got hit. We got a few shells. We got hit. We lost a few people in there, and we retreated 3 times in that area.
And that was supposed to be the coldest winter on record.
And it was.
And for like 60 years.
And where the hell are you going to live in that kind of weather? You know, we had holes, we had put straw down on them, and, huddled and did whatever you could.
And you didn't have jockey to keep you warm.
Nothing. We didn't have girls even to keep us warm. Nothing.
You see where his mind was.
So, the closest experience that you had during the Battle of the Bulge, personally?
Well, we just had artillery. That's all. I was in regimental headquarters, so we were about a mile behind everybody, and all we had was artillery banging away at us constantly, and they were good. They knew where to fire.
Did you have any casualties?
What's that?
Did you have any casualties in H&S?
Oh yeah. We have a Forster. Remember Forster, the tall guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a building that got hit and came down around him.
After the Bulge, then you guys were up around the Maginot Line, because I know that during that time there was a lot of defensive maneuvering as far as barbed wire.
See, we kept backing up because we had no infantry in front of us. We had the three battalions of engineers, and luckily, they had a lot of experience at Anzio, so we weren't overrun by the Germans, but they kept pushing us back with their artillery alone. And eventually, I don't know when the hell we got across the Rhine.
March. Mid-March for you.
Yeah, it was maybe later. Because I do know we spent a couple of weeks driving across Germany. And we eventually ended up in Bavaria. around Oberammergau. And that's where we finally settled down, and then the war stopped around May 5th or something like that. And then the fun started.
Oh, do tell.
Well, yeah, the German women hadn't seen a man. They saw prisoners or people who worked in Germany, that they, prisoners of war that worked, but they were after us. We didn't have to go after them.
Geez, I'm glad I didn't get the
you missed that part.
Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have hated it. I would have hated it.
We took over an inn, a whole German inn, which had its own ice house. And in the wintertime, they used to cut the ice off the river, and that was their ice house. It lasted all summer long. And the streams were full of fish, and there was plenty of deer running around, because only certain people could hunt and fish in Germany. You had to belong to a sports club or something. So we got a lot of that equipment out of these sports, because those are the buildings we took over. These public buildings, sports buildings, rifles and fishing equipment.
Do you remember where you were on May 8th when the war ended in Europe?
Yeah, overall.
What were your first memories? What did you think when you found out, when you heard the war was over?
Well, we could tell it was over because we saw lines and lines of Germans walking. They ran out of equipment. Their horses were all dead. Their trucks were all. They ran out of gas. They were abandoning everything, and they were walking to wherever, to Munich, or wherever the prison camps were. That's well, we knew the war was ending at that point, because there was no more counter artillery. There was no more, there was no more of us getting killed.
Did you guys did you have a celebration in your unit the day the war ended there?
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, we were getting all the cognac. The Germans had taken it from the French, and then they were leaving it because they had no way of moving it. They had lost all their transportation, so we ended up with all the cognac. So you ever get drunk on cognac?
I can't say I have.
You take a glass of water and you get drunk again.
Tony, how long did you remain in Europe until you were able to ship out?
Well, I was on a boat coming home when the war in Japan ended. Whatever that was, in August sometime?
August 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we stayed in Germany in July. I was there in Germany. We were not far from Munich. And because I was in regimental headquarters, and a message comes in. We have room for two sergeants with enough points to go with this outfit through the States to Japan. And we would get off when we got to the States, but they would continue on to Japan. But it never happened. We got to this outfit, this is Sheehan and I, and they said, well, they gave us the directions, go to Paris and join this outfit. We got to Paris, that outfit could switch to Berlin. So here we are, two freelance guys. They gave us a Jeep besides this outfit that we were joined to. We had a Jeep in Paris for 2 weeks with all the cognac. Well, cognac was, a bottle of cognac cost a carton of cigarettes, which cost us 50 cents for the carton of cigarettes. And it was a $20 equivalent. So we had we had the girls and the drinks. And every night we went.
All they did for 2 weeks was ride around the Jeep sightseeing.
We went to Follies Bergère and all those things.
What a way to put it.
France had been reopened by now.
What ship? How did you get home?
I came home through Belgium on something that took 2 weeks. Well, a couple of thousand guys on it. And that's the first time I had a milk. It's the first time they gave out cartons of milk. I hadn't seen milk since I left home.
What kind of welcome did you get when you came back to the States?
Well, you know, close. I had 7 brothers and sisters, but my brother was in Paris. I had met him once in Paris.
What unit was he with?
What?
What unit
He
was
was with headquarters. He was in communications. He was in Eisenhower's headquarters.
Ah, okay.
So one time we were down in France. I don't know whether this was before we went to Alsace or after, but anyway, the guy gets a phone. Hey, Steph, you want it on the phone? I go to the phone. It's my brother Louis. Oh, where are you? I said, I'll get a truck and come and get you. He said, oh, I'm in Paris. Right. He was able to go through divisions or corps or whatever, and got my outfit and got a hold of me. And then I did eventually go to Paris when those 2 weeks of she and I had the Jeep and the girls. No, it wasn't all. But you never thought we'd have that fun. We never dreamed we'd see.
Well, I
See daylight.
I never had much fun with you. Well, we've had 60 some odd years of fun together. Yeah, we've been buddies ever since. We went through the war together. After the war,
We used to meet up in Vermont during the foliage season.
Okay.
Three of us.
Miller, I don't know if you know. I don't think you ever met Miller. Walt Miller.
No, he's a great guy.
He got a battlefield promotion. He was sergeant major for the regiment.
And he took over his
And then
job.
I took over someplace in France, and they switched him over to one of the battalions as a second lieutenant.
When, at the end of the war, what were your ranks?
I was master sergeant.
I was G5.
Okay.
Now, when you got into Bavaria and Germany, and
Yeah.
did you have any experience running into the concentration camps?
Well, the only experience we had with them was we went there and got prisoners every day to take care of us. They were our valets. You know, they did the cooking, they did anything you want. They want a ball field, they built a ball field. And then they would say, don't forget, ask for me again tomorrow. Because they ate with us, and you know, they lived almost like us. But at night we'd have to bring them back.
What was that?
We weren't far from Augsburg or one of those. There was a big prison camp not far from where we were, down there in Bavaria. There's a couple of prison camps down there. But they wanted to work for us just to eat with us.
Well, I was just wondering, because in my father's effects after he died, in his wallet, he had a picture of me and a picture of my sister and my mother and my brother. And I found tucked behind there, he had 4 little tiny pictures of a prison camp, of a concentration camp, of the bodies. And I had to think a long time about why he was carrying those.
Well, you know, and maybe he was with an outfit that...
Well, he was with the 36th. And
oh, with us?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where he...
But I never knew what camp it might be, or whether he personally experienced it or not.
Did you run into those camps?
No, only not those concentration camps. No, I never saw any of those. Just the prisoners is the only one we had contact with.
Maybe you got a chance to visit one that is in the area or something.
Probably some of the infantry outfits probably opened them up and freed them, you know.
Oh, they did. They did.
Yeah.
But by the time we got there, it was all over.
You'll probably have to ask some of the guys who were in the line companies if they experienced any of that. See if you can tie your father in to that.
Yeah.
To that. Well, Tony and Carl,
Yeah.
thank you for
You're welcome.
everything you shared with us today.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We don't want to get any.